Hello everybody, welcome to the I Am IT Geek YouTube channel. My name is Shabazz Dar, and as ever, I am the IT Geek. So it's been a minute since I recorded a technical video. There was obviously my MVP thank you video last week. But I've had a bit of a break from YouTube content just because the Azure Virtual Desktop Zero to Hero series was quite intense, regular videos every week. So I decided to have a bit of a break and just maybe get back to a bit of blogging, which I've done. So I've had that little break now, and I'm back with plenty of ideas and plenty of content to come. So if you can hear background noises, it's because it's quite a big thunderstorm. I'm recording. I've tried to wait, but it's going to be for a few hours, so I thought I'd try and work over it. Today's video is the start of a little mini series I'm doing. So for those that follow me on social media, you'll have seen that I will shortly be starting work on a Azure VMware solution series with Shannon Keane, so really looking forward to that. But we've just got a bit of a schedule conflict, so we're just waiting for a couple more weeks, and then both myself and Shannon are going to start recording that. So I thought I wanted to do something in between. Now, I've been a big admirer of a product around Azure Virtual Desktop called Nerdio, which you may or may not have heard of. So this I think it's a 4-part, so this is obviously episode 1, just a quick introduction as to what I'll be covering in the series. And then I'll be doing 3 more videos around the product. So Nerdio Manager for Enterprise is what I'm going to cover. So with Nerdio, so I just to clarify and to put up front, this series is not sponsored by anyone. It's not sponsored by Nerdio. I have no affiliation to Nerdio. It's just a product that I've wanted to play with for a while, and it's just something that I wanted to share my thoughts and my experience around. So I'm obviously going to be provisioning it, having a look at some of the features in it, and give my own opinion of it. So obviously I know Neil McLaughlin and Baz Van Kamp really well. So I'm hoping to maybe get them on a podcast as well to talk about in this little mini series. But just to crack on with the session, really, this is just a quick introduction. So this is obviously episode 1. That's me, Shabazz Dar. As I said, I am IT Geek. So you can get all my socials, which I'll share on the description of the video as well. So a quick overview of what I'll be discussing in this series. Like I said, it's only a short series, 4 episodes in total, this being the first one. So what I'm going to cover in this one is obviously an overview and a bit of an introduction into the series. I'm also going to do a quick overview of the actual Nerdio Manager for Enterprise portal and some of the items that we'll be configuring and managing as we go along in the series. So episode 2 is going to cover the initial provisioning. So even though I've already provisioned my Nerdio environment, I'm going to go through the steps that it took to get to that point, and some of the prerequisites that you will have to meet in able to provision that as well. Then I want to go into actually deploying some services. So we'll start deploying the services around Azure Virtual Desktop, some host pools, some session hosts, and then we'll show. I'll basically essentially show how easy that is. So if any of you already follow like Neil and Baz, you'll have heard that it's very simple and straightforward. I'm hoping to find out in this series, so that should be a really good episode. In the 4th episode, I want to go around managing the actual services. So this will be the final episode. So we've deployed the services. The episode before that, we'll have provisioned them. I then want to go into actually managing it, and once you've provisioned it, how do you water and feed that environment? How do you keep it up to date? How do you keep your images up to date? How do you provision new session hosts within your host pool, etc.? So I mean, again, if you are going to be following along, you will. I am going to be talking about some technical elements of Azure Virtual Desktop. So if you haven't seen my AVD Zero to Hero series, I'd watch that before you watch this, because that'll give you all the information you need to know about Azure Virtual Desktop in general from an Azure perspective, and then this will be much easier for you to follow. So just a quick, for those that don't know, what is Nerdio? So it's a third-party tool that's affiliated with Microsoft resources, and it's a third-party management tool basically that you provision through the Azure Marketplace, and it allows you to manage your Azure resources. Now, again, it is mainly around Azure Virtual Desktop, and that's how it's been marketed, and that's what you essentially use it for. But you can provision all sorts of services in Azure that are linked to AVD. So, for example, storage accounts, resource groups, file shares, virtual machines, network. You can provision all that through Nerdio. So it's not just your AVD; it's your Azure resources as well. Yes, it's primarily Azure Virtual Desktop, but there are Azure resources that you can provision as well. And as I mentioned, you're able to deploy services, so not just manage them, but deploy new services and update your services, water and feed your environment as well. And finally, you can actually optimize your solution in Azure as well. So, if you're seeing some sort of performance issues, you can actually do all the monitoring, as we'll see in a second when I go through the quick demo. You can actually do all your monitoring and your alerting through Nerdio. So that makes it much easier for you to get those sort of insights into your Azure solution and then optimize them as and when you need. So what I'd like to do now is just a quick demonstration of the portal and how it looks. Obviously, like I said, I've pre-provisioned this. In the second episode, which we'll go into next week, I am going to actually go through the provisioning exercise and how you can get to that, how you can provision it essentially within the Azure Marketplace and the prerequisites. So I'm just going to jump into the portal now and share my screen, and I'll show you how it looks. So here you can see the actual Nerdio Manager for Enterprise portal. So this is when I've already provisioned it. I've gone through all the steps within Azure, the marketplace, to provision it. But essentially, my tenancy is empty apart from that. So again, as you can see on the left-hand side, in episode two or episode 3, where we're actually provisioning our Azure Virtual Desktop, we will go through all these elements: your workspaces, your desktop images, your MSIX app attach. So again, this gives you an insight into actually everything you can manage, and these are all the same sort of services within Azure, but it's under one sort of portal, one pane of glass. So it makes it much easier for you. And here you can go and do actual Windows scripts and Azure runbooks, so you can do that automation within Azure as well. So again, just some of the tasks you can complete here, just again under one pane of glass. From us looking at it from the starting point here, just looks really interesting. So again, this is all your sort of provisioning areas here, and once I've done that, once you've provisioned your workspace, you can then go into all your host pools and your session hosts then. And again, we'll go into more of that in episode 3, so we don't want to jump ahead. And then if you look here, this is what I mentioned around your insights, your Azure WVD then needs to be updated to AVD, but that takes you and opens up your Azure Virtual Desktop insights. So just jumping back to here, this has that integration with the monitoring aspects as well. Again, you can see that on the dashboard because I've got an empty tenancy at the moment. There's no information here, but if you just look at some of the items you can kind of monitor on the dashboard here, you've got named users, host pool count, host count, CPU cores, monthly active users. So there's a lot of information there, and then again you can export it. So again, looks really good, and we will hopefully look into this a bit more as and when we provision some services. We'll start using them and getting some data on here. Moving down, I mentioned storage as well. So both Azure files and Azure NetApp files as well, which is amazing. So that is one a good service there and a good tool to be able to provision both Azure files and NetApp files. Also lets us manage our users and our roles here. So again, we'll do more on this. The RBAC element of it when we start provisioning, but just again being able to access your identity and access management within one pane of glass where all your other services are, rather than having to click around the Azure portal. Again, very helpful, very useful. And then these are some of the logs as well that we can look at. So again, this just shows I was having a little play about when I first provisioned it, creating a workspace. So it says there linking to my network. So again, it's got all the stuff that I've done in the short period that I've had this tenancy. So I'm really looking forward to actually deploying some of these in episode 3. So as I mentioned in episode 2, I will go through the process to get to this stage where it's all provisioned and ready for us to start creating our resources. And then I'll also go through the steps that, if you're wanting to use a community version, there are lots of different versions. I'll go into that in episode 2. But there's a paid for version obviously, and then there's this community edition which I'm using. I'll explain how you can go about getting that, and you can start playing with this tool yourself. So that's essentially what I wanted to share, and just in this first episode is very, very kind of introductory, just to explain what this short 4-episode series is going to be about. So again, thank you for watching. If you do have any comments or any questions, please do drop me a comment. All my sort of LinkedIn and my Twitter and all my socials will be in the description. But hopefully next week you'll see an episode around provisioning the actual Nerdio tenancy, and then we move on to actually provisioning resources with it as well. So thank you very much for watching. Please do subscribe, please do like, and please do comment. But up until next time, thank you and goodbye.